4.68%. That's a record high again, despite a steady unemployment rate of 4.2%. That surpassed estimates at 47,500. Strong job growth signaling resilience in the economy, contributing to market gains. Taiwan's weighted index rising 1.24%, the central bank preparing its rate decision and growth forecast updates. South Korea's Kospi inching up just 0.11%, a small cap. Kosdaq gaining 0.65%, regional markets mirroring the Fed rates a cut. Okay, let's go to Dubai and speak to Farah Murad, a senior market analyst at Equiti Group. Farah, thank you for your time. Mike was telling us that the British pound is stronger against the dollar than it has been for a long time. Is the dollar suffering all over Asia Pacific?
Definitely, and that's good news. I mean, everyone was waiting for that. We've heard a lot of voices from many central banks trying to push the federal bank to lower their interest rates. So this pivot point, this aggressive, if you would like to say aggressive pivot point, is something that would definitely help economies, especially heavily export-oriented economies, which we see in the Pacific and Asian countries.
Do you expect the surge to continue, or is it just a momentary reaction?
I mean, it would definitely continue. If we want to check what's happening in China, a lower dollar is definitely welcome. Japan as well. The inflation was spiking above the target, but inflation pressure was not coming from consumption. It was coming because of a stronger dollar. So this is a bit of a relief for Bank of Japan. They don't have to raise interest rate. And as I said, these economies can even become more competitive globally. Their the corporate earnings will benefit, their balance sheet will benefit. So this growth is probably maintained.
And considering how important real estate is to China, is this something that is almost possibly going to have an effect of literally saving some companies from going bust?
I mean, there's this dual effect, because if we've heard what Jerome Powell was saying, inflation pressure remains in shelter in the US. And there's this bit of dilemma that lower interest rate, meaning lower mortgage, it would support supply in the US, which would make real estate in the US more competitive. So we might see more interest in real estate in the USA. Definitely lower interest rate will help China, but I believe it's still an environment for potential higher reward but higher risk as well. And the US, with lower mortgage rates, it might even become more competitive on a global scale.
Can you just explain how Australia has a record high market despite steady unemployment? How is it doing that?
I mean, employment is higher than their target, but we're seeing growth kind of supported well. Even now with a lower dollar, we're expecting their earning, corporate earnings to also be supported. And this is why I'm betting more on an Australian dollar, on a stronger Australian dollar, because what we're hearing, this is still, I think we can compare what's happening in Australia now, a couple of months ago, what's happening in the US. Inflation, fighting inflation remains top priority, especially with inflation being higher than most, even than the US, than Canada, than the Eurozone. So I believe growth is still sustainable, but at the same time, in this dual dilemma between unemployment and inflation, Australia is focused more on fighting inflation.
Farah Murad, thank you so much, Farah.
You're most welcome. Thank you for having me.
Let's have a look.